We had a day today. Have we not had a day today? We have been running. We barely got here and here. It has it's a Friday, right?
Yeah, but I guess we tag teamed it today, me and you.
Yeah, we have a couple of guests who are also running behind, so we will talk about that if they can get here. Hopefully they will be. Um
I was talking about tag teaming the job, so it's just me and Mika today.
everybody left. See, a couple people are sick, a couple people are on vacation, and it's all set up that we're just like, what happened? What happened? And the thing is, usually we spurt everything out, but it's just been a rough.
And guess who I seen this? I'm running in because it's me and Mika, so I'm holding the fort down at the office this morning while she handling some other stuff. I run to get me breakfast. I'm flying out the door. Kari, he like, yeah, get there, get there. I'm like, oh dang. And one of the best breakfast places on this side of town.
Where is
Mr.
that?
Greedy's. Greedy guy. Like fire on off the chain. Man, I'm gonna
Is
have to
that where you
tell him.
got your? I think he was. I came in. What was that, Tuesday? And he was back there, and he was rubbing his belly, and I was like, "What you doing, Jermaine?" He's like, I had some catfish and
Ooh,
was it
listen,
catfish and waffles?"
catfish, waffles, and eggs.
Man.
I mean, it was succulent. It was real succulent.
Now you done made me want some
Listen,
catfish and grits.
I just had catfish and eggs.
Man.
Listen here, man. That's my
And the
everyday
way they
go-to.
make it,
Fire.
oh man.
Unbelievable.
Real cheese. The cheese actually be coming off the eggs like
You mean
that.
it's not the sauce, the cheese
No,
sauce?
it's the
No,
real
it's the
deal.
real deal. I'm
Holyfield.
talking about. And they put some type of cilantro on it. Cilantro. Man.
Cilantro, same difference, man. Yeah.
Yes, it do. It just
Man.
make it better. Like, man.
Yeah.
I moved over there, y'all, and I was like, I gotta find me a breakfast place in my neighborhood because I
Listen
have to go
here.
way downtown to Michael's. I'm like, I looked it up. I was like, oh yeah, when I used to live over here, I used to go there. They got to be good. I went and
Yeah.
ordered that first morning. The next morning I came back, she said, I know you now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is when Tamika will interrupt and say, "I don't like any of them. I'm starving. I ran out of my house at
Yummy, yummy,
exactly
yummy.
8 o'clock, and I've been on the road and on the go since.
Mm.
And they are talking
All
about
you gotta do is order
Jermaine.
10
Wait a minute.
minutes.
Here's the thing, Jermaine over there
Yeah, you just don't
sucking on his
understand.
teeth.
Succulent. Yeah.
Carvey can't even sit down because he's full. His stomach is full.
Listen here.
Latoya, now
She
y'all don't
happy.
understand. This is the most evil person when she hungry. I mean, what is that? Hangry, don't even cut it. She'll side eye me. She'll side eye everybody else when this lady is hungry, and she got big old smile on her face right now. I gotta go get some of this food.
Yes.
I really
Off
gotta
the
get some of
chain.
this food. Um, 414-444-5250. I do want to do an extra thank you to our guests, Mr. Meach and Miss Michelle, for our show on Tuesday. We are still getting uh, we getting comments, good, bad, ugly. When they coming back home? Why don't you do that again? Would you? Oh, Lordy.
That was an interesting conversation.
It seems like people really like the back and forth, and here's the thing, we are not partisan. We just like to talk issues. We like to talk about what everybody else is talking about. Later on today we're going to talk to some of the people who have helped organize, and we'll get into it because I don't know exactly how it started, but we'll ask those questions on how the MPS recall started.
Yes, yeah.
So those people will be able to answer some questions, and remember, if you call in about them, remember that they are not speaking for the whole group. They're just speaking of why they did it, and we're gonna ask them like what made them decide to do this, and what are their backgrounds, stuff like that. Because it's hard, and One of the things about recalls, which people don't know, is when you recall elect. All right, so every elected official has a limit that they can take for um, for contributions. For instance, the minimum amount for anybody to give is $500, and so anybody who is running for office, like my limit is $500 when I'm running for alderman because that's the lowest you can do. Now, depending on your population, it may go up. Some people in Milwaukee in the districts, they do anywhere between $700 to $800, depending on how big their population is. But that's how much they get. Here's the thing: as soon as a recall is filed, those people can raise as much money, and there's no limit. So all the four people that they are recalling, they can raise money for their campaigns with no limit. So if somebody wanted to give them $20,000 out of their pocket, they could. Normally, they could not. But here's the other side to that: is after if this recall is successful and they have to go back on the ballot to if when they go back on the ballot to defend their seat, the people who are running against them have to follow the campaign rules. So they can only get the limits of whatever their district tells them they can get. So they do not have unlimited funds that they can take from one particular person. That's why recalls are so hard. Um, you can only be recalled after you've been in a year. So all the people that have are being on the that have are on the recall list have there's four of them, and they've been sworn in for at least a year. So that's just some of the stuff we're going to talk about a little bit later. But guess what today is, Latoya? I bet you can't guess.
Friday,
And what does this Friday mean?
the last day that you can go early vote.
I think there's some, but it's close. Yeah, it is the last day. There's no Saturday or Sundays on this one. So yeah, today is the last day for early voting. There is quite a, um, there's quite a bit on the ballot. These are for, I think, the state senators are open, the state assemblies. Um, I think the county treasurer, uh, all these are up. Are you going to make a difference, or are you going to sit back and wait?
Yeah, I'm going to vote on election day. I always do. I love going to vote on election day so I can see how many people are in have voted before me.
I usually try to vote. I'm still going to try to vote early voting today before it closes today. If not, I will vote on election day. I ain't missed a vote since.
I ain't been once since I've been 18.
I missed a couple of them because I wasn't aware. I mean, I knew that and this is the thing, you can always, get back on track. But I remember I voted when I was in the first time I could vote, which was when I was 18. But then I went to school and I never voted because it was hard to figure out where you had to vote then, and I just kind of let it go. And then I lived in Madison for a while, and I think I voted twice there. And then ever since I moved back to Milwaukee, I think I started voting, which was back in 1993 or 94 or 95. I don't know. I'm old now. I don't remember when I came back. But you can always start a trend now. So if you haven't voted, you can start now.
What is these all the pins?
What? See, Latoya is distracted. She looking at
I
the
know.
pins, right? She.
No, one blue in there and it. Oh, long story. But
Oh my goodness. I'm just gonna let
I've
it
been
go.
voting since I could vote. Since What was that? Since
19
'93.
1832.
1993. I've been
Um,
voting since then.
there is, I think you can, our Joe Dre, who is not with us today, but he has sent me a little text and it says, you can still early vote tomorrow at Tippecanoe Library, 3912 South Howell Avenue from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. or Washington Park Library, 2121 North Sherman Boulevard from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. That is why he is the policy director and all things politics. What you think, Latoya?
Hmm.
Latoya, see, I'm gonna make sure that she don't eat before she come, cause she happy, but yet she ain't trying to talk, or she just be like she playing with pens, she having a
She,
good old time.
she in her own little world, but that food made her happy.
Happy.
Like all she hear in her head is la la la
La
la la
la
la.
la la.
I'm a little upset with y'all. I'm
I'm
still
with
going
you.
back to the
No, I didn't
food.
have the morning. I
Um,
didn't have the morning.
what kind of morning did you have, dear?
Running up and down. Ooh, we gotta get this way. Hold on. People tires got slashed. Like, hold on, gotta figure
Yeah,
this
somebody's
out.
tired. I don't know if they got slashed or what, but one of
Yeah.
our canvassers came back and then she had two flat tires in the back. And it was like, it's ridiculous how much tolls cost.
Oh yeah.
It's absolutely ridiculous how much
Don't get locked out your car.
$200 per mile. It's not that. I'm just kidding. I'm
And then they got
exaggerating.
a certain percent. Ooh, shoot. Then they got a certain percentage on the miles that they get that they take. They got an automatic fee they take out if you get the toll. Like, okay.
Well, one of the things that we always like to talk about partners, and the share the love, walk it out. That's on every Monday and Wednesday,
Hmm.
and I wanted to talk because Monday starts at 9 o'clock, and it's at Washington Park, and they just walk. It's for your health and wellness.
We to speak of walking it out, Mrs. Gordon, victims of Milwaukee violence, is having their walk bike marathon this weekend at
Oh,
Obama's school,
high school, yeah.
high school on Custard and Sherman. And I believe it starts at 9 a.m. And she will be there to greet people. She will be there as of 7:30. So if you get there early, but she said definitely come out. You can walk, you can ride your bikes, you can do a lot of stuff tomorrow. Actually, Ms. Veronica has an event going on tomorrow as well.
And that's the share the love again, and they're having their first community block party.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I wonder what they gonna have. Let me see. I don't see no food. They ain't told me what they gonna do. No, but it's August 10th from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. and it's at 2034 West Center Street. Again, it's tomorrow from 1 to 4, and it's 2024 West Center Street. People are doing a lot of stuff around town. If you got
Mm-hmm.
any announcements, anything like that, let me know. Let us know. Um, there is also a for the same organization, a journey to heal from a spiritual standpoint, trauma support group, and um it's the source of unlimited love. I love when she said that you can give unlimited love. And it's every
Mm.
Saturday from 12 to 2, and that's at the same location, 1234 West Center Street. she just does some
Mm.
Veronica. I hopefully I'm
She
trying to.
shares the love.
She does. This woman has a story to tell, and I really want her to come on and tell it. She's told it a little bit, but I actually met her a long time ago, probably close to 20 years ago, and the transformation that she has done and so much community work she has done, it's amazing.
Hmm.
Um, I I find it amazing how people who she calls, what did she say? She's like, I was doing the body out there, and now she's about the people.
Hmm.
And you can easily, I mean, it took her some time, but she changed her life around. She said that she didn't want to be the cause of the trouble. She wanted to help the trouble or have a solution to the trouble.
Trouble. Yep.
We haven't told, so that is some of the partner stuff we are doing. We have a big announcement with Wisconsin Voices. We gonna tell y'all in a little bit, but y'all need to stay tuned and save the date for October 1st. We can't
Hmm.
tell you what it is yet, but I want y'all to save the date, October 1st,
Yes.
from 6 to 10. We gonna get that out there.
Yes.
I want, you know how people get married and they just say save the date. You don't know
Hmm.
no other stuff. So we're gonna start that with
Save
save the
the day,
date, October
October the
1st,
1st, from 6
6 to
to
10.
10
Are you gonna save the
p.m.
date, Mr. Jermaine? Mr. Jermaine, are you gonna save the date?
The date has been saved.
Mr. Carvey, are you going to save the date? See, I love Mr. Carvey. Now that I seen his name written down, now I know it's Carvey, Carvey. Or can we say Carvey? Oh Lord.
Corvette.
Well, he's an upcoming rap star, so we should really start to
Oh,
like
he's
him.
here. He already arrived.
I
He
ain't
ain't up
telling
and
him that.
coming.
His
Carvier.
head might get big.
He ain't
He's
up
an
and
up
coming.
and
He
coming
already
rap
arrived.
star.
So you gotta say it like you living in Paris. Carvier.
Carvier.
Carvier, come here.
You know what? They all
Now
ate
listen,
some food and they
that's for
all
his female
happy. Do you
friends.
see what
Carvier.
happens when you feed
That's
people?
like little brother to me. Yeah, like come here, Carvey.
This is what happened when you feed people.
Hey, I got a question. I want to know how our community feel about the four people that got arrested for the events that happened around what happened at the Hyatt. I wonder how the community feels about that. I really
Um,
want to hear from them on that.
I found out it's interesting because one of the people I'm familiar with,
I'm familiar with two of them.
and it's so sad because they're not bad people. I just think the testosterone kicked in.
Well, I know one of them said, and it's on record of them saying that they didn't even want to do it, but they was instructed.
Yeah.
So it kind of make the situation all the way around sad because for him to lose his life, um, it's just
Well,
tremendously
For
sad.
Mr. Mitchell,
and
yes.
the thing is,
It's tremendously sad.
so, and I've heard officers, like police officers, say that my supervisor told me to do this. But here's the thing: you do it and you get in trouble for it. But if you don't do it,
Then
you
you
in
lose. Yeah,
trouble.
you in trouble.
Yeah.
Like if you try to take a stand, I know there was, I can't remember exactly, but there was about, I want to say about 4 or 5 years ago, a officer who did not do with his,
Oh yeah.
and it because it was against violations, he thought it was wrong what they were doing, and he ended up losing his job and a whole
Pension or
bunch of
something
other
like that.
stuff
Yeah,
because there was
Yeah.
no support for him.
yeah.
How do we, we
That's what I want to know from the community. How do people feel after seeing that interview last night and on the news with Mr. Williamson and seeing his encounter of it? How do people feel? He wasn't even a security guard.
Right.
So how do people feel about
Wait a
that?
minute. That's I haven't seen that. Could you explain a little bit more?
So he did a news interview and was saying that he was a bellboy and his supervisor at, ordered him to go help hold Mr. Mitchell down. And he felt that if he didn't do it,
He was gonna
that
lose
he
it.
was going to lose his job from not taking a direct order. But by doing it, he still lost his job, and now he's facing 15 years in prison.
I'm sure that his life will never be the same
No,
because that's going to be on your record as well. Um,
not only on your record, on your mind.
yeah, on your mind. So I just think the
But
whole
it was kind of
situation
hard
is
to hear
sad
too.
because you know the young man that they was holding down, he should have never lost his life.
Right,
He shouldn't have lost his life. That whole thing, I don't even understand how it even happened, and it went on for that long.
right.
I don't understand it. It's completely sad, and
And one of our partners were there. Sean Moore was there.
Yes.
man,
And the sad thing about it is, like, when do you make that choice? Because after hearing his interview, it's like, how do I feel about this? I the first number one thing is I have nothing but condolence for that family, for the Mitchell family, for someone losing their life. And I'm also like, when is taking a stance at work okay? Because this is a right to work state. So you can walk in and they don't like you have on that tan shirt, Jermaine, and say, see you
you
later,
up out
bye.
of here. But I'll tell
So
you one thing, um, and this is just me. I think totally differently from everybody else.
How you know? There's probably some people who agree with you. I don't care what you
Okay,
say. So
right.
yeah, okay. Well, for me in my house, that's not my. That company I don't own, right? So you're not gonna
So,
put
honey,
me
you
in a
looking at
situation.
somebody dead straight the same way because
Yeah,
I just looked at George Floyd. So I'd have been like, I'm not holding
yeah.
that man
I'm
down.
not,
He
man.
telling y'all
Please
he can't breathe because
listen.
he's screaming it.
I quit and sell hot dogs before I put myself in that situation. Because this is not my company, and at the end of the day, they can release and fire you at any point in time. So that's my thing. What's up, love?
well, we're gonna take a break and then we're gonna come back with our guests. And we're gonna talk about the MPS recall, get some information. If you have any questions, 414-444-5250, 414-444-5253. Talk to you in a minute. We're back with Be a Voice with Wisconsin Voices, 860 AM, 106.5 FM. Carvey, do you have what do you have around on your head? Is that one of those things you take on the like a neck pillow? What do you need a neck pillow at work for? It's his combo. What does combo mean?
Yeah, it's like 2 plus 2. It equals 4, so it adds up. Yeah, so it's like that pillow and him sitting there equals sleep.
But he at work though.
No, it don't.
It's
It
the thought
equals
that
sleep.
count,
That's
right,
the
Corey?
combo.
don't think it equals sleep.
It's the thought that count, right?
Comfortability leads to sleep.
Comfortability. Comfortability.
It's the thought that counts.
Leads to sleep.
That's so funny.
Cappuccino.
Okay, we are back with Be a Voice, and we have two uh lovely women. This is Tamika Johnson and Carrie Phelps, and they are. I don't want to say they started or anything. They will explain it, but they are part of the MPS recall. So I guess what we're going to do is introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about you, and then we'll go to Miss Carrie and ask her, and then we'll get into some basic questions.
My name is Dr. Tamika Johnson.
Wait.
Oh.
Was that doctor?
Oh yeah, doctor.
I love
doctor.
you. So you trying to
No,
see?
no.
Wait a minute. She throwing shade. She's like earned doctor. So that for all
No,
those
I
people.
just think these days you have to distinguish the difference.
No.
As
She
long
trying
as
to
we
throw
know, we will
shade.
always give you your respect.
Wait a minute. She trying to throw shade for those honorary doctorates.
Oh no, I'm not, because some people deserve them.
Okay, go ahead, ma'am.
But yeah, you're funny, Tamika. Let's see, you always got to be a Tamika. Starting trouble, no.
What's your sign?
Capricorn.
Oh, Lord. I'm
Oh,
a
yeah.
Scorpio. We go. Okay, go ahead.
All right, Dr. Tamika Johnson. I've been an educator in the city of Milwaukee for the last 24 years. I'm a life coach. I'm a minister as well as a serial author, and I advocate for education and mental health. Yeah.
And Miss Carrie, are you on the line?
I am. Good morning.
Good morning. Could you introduce yourself to us?
Yes, I am a business owner. So I'm an entrepreneur. I have several businesses. I'm a former educator, certified reading specialist. In addition, I have children in NPS, and that is my mission is to be the voice for other parents.
Okay, so let's start out with I think a couple of shows ago I read, and we're not taking sides, we're just giving facts. So we read that some of this group, and I think the only person, and I don't even want to know say that you're the leader, but there was a group that has decided to start a recall on 4 MPS school board members. Kind of, I went through the what you guys are alleging, but just bring me through what made, and I'll ask both of you, how did this come about? What were your thoughts about it, and what made you really go? Because this is an extreme to, and I'm not in a bad way, but
No,
I'm just
we
saying
understand.
you have to think about it. You have to organize. You have to do so much for this. What made you really go this direction?
So if everybody's been watching the school board meetings, a lot of organizations had been already advocating for equity in education, and then a lot of things started happening with MPS. The referendum had came, so that was a big old thing in regards to
Which is the second one.
yeah,
now.
was the second one. So the $252 million referendum, I, and along with a lot of community organizations, began to hold town hall meetings informing the people on the reason why they should say no. And the reason why, the reason why they should say no was because we as a community who's already bleeding continue to pour into a felon district. And we also seen that our children on the north side, African American children mainly, were felons. So it's like, why are we constantly pouring into this this broken vessel and not getting anything in return. So once the referendum passed, we learned 2 months later about DPI comes out with the reports. Now, mind you, we're still going to school board meetings advocating for the resignation of the superintendent, the resignation of board members, because we felt like they were not performing the way they should be performing for the sake of our public school students and their staff. And so once the report came out from DPI, everybody began to call for the resignation of Keith Posley. Then Keith Posley resigned. And so the media asked us, were we satisfied with just Keith Posley resigning? And we were like, no, because Keith Posley did not destroy the district by himself. And so then a lot of organizations began to say, let's call the board members, recall them. We have the power to recall board members. And so we all got together to do that.
Miss Carrie, was your thought process about the same as Miss Tamika's?
Well, mine started a little bit different.
Uh-huh.
Mine started probably, I've been working on changing the board about 8 years ago. So I ran for school board 8 years ago, and I ran for it 4 years ago. The first time was strictly to bring awareness to where the district stood with DPI scores. And because at that time I was moving back to Milwaukee and from an outlying suburb, and I was looking for where to place my children, and just poured with the statistics. And I'm like, we can't have this. And it's been going on for the past 20 years, and the same people have been sitting on the board. That's ludicrous to me. So this time, with the mishandling of funds and the fact that they've had over 2 years of this knowledge and not done anything, and then they have a scapegoat and they expect us to be okay with that. And then the fact that I know personally that referendum should have only been 29 to 32 million, and they got us for almost 10 times that amount. That's ridiculous.
Can you repeat that again, please?
So the referendum was only supposed to be 29 to 32 million originally. So not to stress the tax base of Milwaukee citizens, right? So that referendum was almost 10 times the amount. That's ridiculous.
I would like to say this. I thank you, ladies, so much for clarifying that, because one of I don't know if it was y'all members or so asked me to sign the petition, and I was so angry because at one point they had parents out there asking people to say yes to this referendum, and I kept saying, and I said it on the show, that I don't think we should give them that money because they're not educating our children right. So why are we funneling money to them and they're not giving no progress? And when they came up to me, I was like, I'm not signing it. Now y'all want us to sign it to recall him, but you just asked us to give him 52 million. And that person was like, no, we didn't. We didn't want to. So I am glad y'all clarified that. And I hope the community hear that. This is the group that felt like us, that did not want to give that 252 million. And like Ms. Phelps just said, it should have only been like 30 million to really be given. So we actually gave 10 times and strained our taxes. As much as taxes have been going up, as much as food going up, we're already struggling to give to a school district that's not being accountable for what they're supposed to be accountable for. So thank you so much for that.
So when the referendum came up, I think what I did was I try to not give an opinion on MPS because I was a Glendale River Hill school board member for a long time, and I personally don't like when I'm throwing stuff at other people when my own house is not clean. And I wasn't on the board, but we had some issues that, we had I think a $700,000 shortfall that is different from, it's a different situation, and they're, thank God that board is doing whatever they can to fix it. So,
Right.
but, and I really tried not to say too much because of that, and I don't want to be a hypocrite. So what we did though is we went on the website and we read to people why they should, what the MPS was putting out on why they should give this money, and I read it word from word from what we had. Then we had a guest that came on and talked about the almost the same issues, in the sense of that this is a burden on,
Right.
I think
The taxpayer.
the taxpayers,
For working
the
families. Yeah.
working families, but they were also making the point that we had just had the sales tax
Yeah.
increase, and why is it keep why are the taxpayers of Milwaukee always getting
Being
pushed
responsible
and
for it.
responsible
Yeah.
for other people's neglect? That was one of our, so we did a kind of for and, I mean, not for or against, but factual from the school board, and then we asked people to give their opinion about it. I find it I kind of, there's some things that I will be mentioning, and with this school board, even the way they run their meetings,
Right.
I am they there are protocols that you have to do, even just in a meeting. And I've watched some of the meetings where they have gone into closed session, which they
Yeah.
can go into closed session long as you put it on the agenda. But what you can't do is leave out directly out of closed session. You have to come back in, say no action was taken, or if there's an action that they did take, vote on it in the open, and then adjourn in the open. But you cannot go into closed session and then leave. And I've seen a couple of those times where they have done that. It's just small rules. Now, I'm not gonna, and I won't personally talk about what the the budget is or whatnot, but those rules, everybody knows those rules. Those are things that just happen, and we've gotten rowdy. When I was on the school board, we had rowdy people. We just had to
Thank you.
suffer through it.
Right.
I mean, we had at one point we had a kid that had committed suicide, and people were wondering what we were doing. That meeting went from 6 until about 11 o'clock, but we listened to every single person. We listened.
Did y'all call the police?
We They was next door. Shh, be quiet. Not just kidding.
But
No,
like you just said, they were next door. The people didn't see them.
oh no, or they, if we need to, if we think something's gonna happen,
A
we just
threat.
ask them to, unless it's something physical. Yes, the president might be there, but it's just for presence. School board, our common council, all those things. That's what it is. But you don't.
Weaponize the
Yeah,
Intimidate the
people
you
people.
don't
with
weaponize it.
the
You just, they're this there to say, hey,
get them
you
out
know
if
what?
they
I'm
don't if they
here.
talk.
Yeah, it's like they are, for us, it was they are here to protect the people that are on the board, in case, because there are some crazies out there. But verbally, that's, we try to keep it
Verbal.
under
Right.
control.
Right.
We usually take a break when it gets to let's take an intermission, or let's take a break, get everybody calmed down, and then try to come back. One of the things another thing you're talking about was uh making sure, I heard somebody, and I'm not going to say it was you, but they were saying when it came to the budget, the administration is so inflated. Like they have directors on top of directors for the director. Go ahead, Miss Carrie.
That's
You
probably
laughing?
me.
Miss Phelps, go ahead.
It's Miss Carrie Phelps. Yeah.
Phelps. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. So we laugh jokingly call the Village Street building the land of the 100K salary.
Yep.
So um, unnecessarily spend money on administration. They are very top heavy there, right? And then they don't have the correct people. We don't need people
telling people how to tell people how to tell other people how to tell other people how to do their jobs.
The director of the director
Of
of the assistant to the
right.
director, the deputy
And
assistant
they all get
director,
paid
director,
Correct.
And
six
their
figures.
assistant.
Yeah.
And
and
this
then
is
their
while
assistant. Yeah.
money
Mhm.
going to children,
Got you.
who at the end of the day is the end client. The end client, what the board needs to understand is the end client are the students, the parent, and the community, and they have it twisted.
Right.
I always thought, and
I like the way y'all
I'm
explaining
talking
this.
a lot about my experience, but it was kids first, teacher second, administration third, and every decision that I made, the kids came first. Then what do the if the kids are taken care of, what do the teachers need to do their jobs to help the kids? And then it
Right.
was like, what does administration need to do to help the
To support
teachers,
that.
To
to
Help
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 the
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 children.
kids to
kids.
do, to
Right.
and everybody, school is not a daycare. School is not it's a place of education.
Supposed to be, most definitely.
It's not somewhere where you drop your kids off. So I'm on the parents as well as the administration, and but they act like they're doing. I My daughter was a secretary, a travel secretary for MPS for a while, and some of the schools she was at, I love Brown Street School. That was an amazing school. They really tried to help their kids. But some of the other schools they were at, it was like the teacher was like, I'm doing you a favor
Mhm.
watching your kids. It was like they thought it was a daycare.
Wow.
And I just found it fascinating. So it's a all around, for me, and I maybe for you, it's a all around mindset of what education is.
What education is in the inner city,
Right.
because most of the
Right.
time when you go to the suburban areas, the attitudes aren't that.
Right.
And I think a lot of times when you work in a community that don't have a voice and they don't have advocates, they take advantage of them. And
Yes.
so that's what's been happening because Milwaukee leaders have been silent on the behalf of our children. We just allow people to come in and exploit them. And that's what's been happening. So even when you put people before them in a classroom, it's like, don't nobody care about y'all. So this is what, not saying that, all teachers think like that. But when you think about, so I heard someone talk about, I know before MPS talk about licensing and people being equipped and all of these things. Well, MPS licensed majority of all of their teachers in Wisconsin, and they're still failing our children. So licensing cannot be the issue when you have private and charter schools where teachers are mainly degreed and their scores exceed
Mm-hmm.
expectation. So what is the problem then? It's the attitude of the people that's before our children, or the
Yes.
attitude of the people that are governing our children. Do you really care about the community in which you service?
Yes.
And right now I see that there's been a horrible neglect in the city of Milwaukee, the public schools. It's been neglect and it's been allowed. And so we too, as a community, have to take ownership of allowing that to happen.
Um,
Thank you, Dr. Johnson, because
Yeah.
that's so true.
Yeah.
This is so true.
how is the signature collection going?
I'm gonna let Carrie speak on that one.
Well, again, we've been keeping that close to the vest, but we are encouraging volunteers. We to come out. We are meeting expectations. We will have our signatures by the due date, which is Monday. But we always could use more because we aim to get over the amount. So if anybody wants to come out and volunteer, um, we are meeting Washington Park between 10:30 and 12:30 on Saturday and Sunday. Come and sign the petition. That would be awesome. Or if you feel like you have some family members that want to sign the petition, grab a sheet and meet us there.
Um,
Okay.
Here's my question on that: who can sign the petition?
So they have to live in the city of
City of
Milwaukee,
Milwaukee.
not the
Hmm.
county of Milwaukee, but you have to live in the city of Milwaukee. So all Milwaukee residents can sign the petition.
Okay. I'm gonna come and get a list from
And
y'all.
so
Now that
there,
I understand
yeah,
it, I'm
so
gonna come and
we
get a
have
list.
4 districts. So if you are in District 1, you can sign, you can recall District 1 as well as citywide. If
Okay.
you live in District 2, you can also sign the District 2 petition and citywide. If you live in District 5, you can do the same thing. Sign a petition for your district as well as citywide. And
Okay.
then anybody in the city outside of those other three, you can sign citywide.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I got a list of
Yeah,
people
come
that
on, just bring them on
I need
out.
to sign that list. I'll come and get the list and take it to them and have them sign it and bring it back
Yeah,
to y'all
yeah.
because that was something really, really
I have some in the
important.
car. I'll bring
Yeah,
you some.
that was something really important to us that we just gave 80 million in during the pandemic, and just to hear Mrs. Phelps explain that out was really, really gut wrenching
Yes.
because I kept saying it in April that there's no way that they have not adequately told us what they were doing with that 80 million
Right.
for us to get them 250 million now.
Wasn't that 80 million just 2 years ago, or was it 1 year
It
ago?
was like 2 years
It
Two
was
ago.
like
years
two
ago.
years
2 years ago.
ago,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Hmm.
and then they waited a year, and then
252
252 million.
million.
And only needed, as she said, like 30 million.
And may I ask, how did it come about that they only needed 30 million? I mean, where were they saying the rest of this money was gonna
The
go?
other 220 came from.
So
See,
I'll let
they
Carrie speak.
when they were pressed about what they were using this money from, they did the fancy footwork, um, and they would never pin down what they're using the funds for,
Mhm.
like they always do. So that was a major red flag for
Right.
me and a lot of other community members.
They really had no
Simple,
set.
right, and like whenever, like as a business person, you have a set budget, right? You're going into the next year. You know what you're spending your funds on. You know where that money's going. You know how much your expenditures are. You know there's either like a 10 to 14% leeway, right? However, NPS, they were not forthcoming with that. They've not been transparent with any of their spending. So to ask taxpayers to share that burden, and now we've got to pay money back to DPI because
Right.
the paperwork is not complete. So we didn't even get into that part.
And so we think about it, and we really want to educate. If this recall doesn't do anything else, we really want our people of Milwaukee to get involved, get educated, because the information that we found and the information that we obtain is all public knowledge. You just have to know where to go get this information. We have to start reading,
There,
reading. Like we tell the children to read, the parents and the community members have to start getting
Yes.
this information, these public documents, and reading it. It doesn't matter if your child doesn't attend MPS. If you live in the city of Milwaukee, you will be held accountable and responsible for
that
taxes, that
payment.
Yeah.
payment. So it doesn't. So a lot of times we got people saying, "Well, my children don't go to MPS." That doesn't matter. Do you live in the city of Milwaukee?
You still paying for it.
You still gonna you're
And
gonna
NPS
experience
is the
all the
fiduciary
consequences.
for all the schools.
And you know
Yes.
what? And even if you don't live in Milwaukee, you still paying because the state. You're
Yes.
still paying because the state allocates funds to MPS.
Yes.
So
Right, they're the fiduciary for all
you're
the schools.
you're you're still doing it. I'm gonna play devil's advocate because one of the things I also heard is that this is not the board's fault, in the sense that they can only go by what the superintendent gave them and what the budget, or the what
The
is it,
devil is
the
a lie.
I'm just saying, they can only go
So
by
what do
what.
we have them for?
But okay, so I heard that before, but let me tell you that literally there are rules behind what a board can and cannot have, or what
Let me
they
stop
have,
you right there. I was on the MATC board, and
which is
we had people reporting directly to us regarding their budget. And
different than a
no, no, it's not
yeah,
different about where money is going and what
yes
people
it is.
plan to do with funding and how the department is run.
So
Because the departments, the problem is how the board meeting is ran is inefficient.
I thought she was done.
Okay, let me hear what you had to say to me.
So what I'm talking about, in the sense of not giving them not trying to make excuses,
Mhm.
but when you're on a board, you get information from the superintendent. They
Mhm.
give it to you. Now there is um, things that I don't like about the rules of school board. And I was the board president for the Glendale River Hill School District. So one of the things, if one of my members said, I want to know about this, they could not go directly and ask the business manager or anything. They had to go to the superintendent or the board president. And if they kept asking questions, that's not technically allowed. But how I got over that is if somebody asked a question, I would have her write it to the whole board
Mm-hmm.
and say, so she said, where is this money coming from? And somebody said, where does this fund it? She just wanted to know for her personal own thing. But what I would do is when the answer was there, hey, I'd have the superintendent say, this question was asked to give the information to the whole board, because a lot of times one member or two members may have these ideas and may want to know that, and they'll ask the questions, but the other five, six, whatever board members never understand what questions are asked. And that is some
But
of
the
the
board had the
rules.
reports. The board was notified of the report of the missing reports. The board was notified several times.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, and
So
I'm
we
not
can't.
saying they
Yeah.
weren't. I'm just saying there are certain cases where they
Yeah.
don't know, but if they did know, I'm just trying to make sure that nobody says that you're just trying to go after the board. No, they had information.
And
Let's
that's
make
what I was.
sure we want to say they had this information.
That's why I wanted to let you finish so I can say it, parents and everyone can go look at the letter that DPI released to the public,
Right.
and it gave dates of how long, and that's how we knew that they knew about for 8 months, almost a year
But
about it.
that's why I
Yeah,
brought it up, because
because some
people
people
some
don't know.
people will
Yeah,
push back and say,
yeah,
there are, and again, like I said, there are certain things that boards don't know, and that information is funneled through the superintendent,
right.
and then the superintendent decides one way or the other, well, I don't think they should know that right now, or that's not how we're going to handle it right now. But if they were aware, but that's why I'm saying it the way I
And
am.
so you think about building relationships with the community. Had the board, okay, let's just, the DPI said they knew for 8 months. Had the board came out and made a statement to the public themselves and let us know, like, look, this is what's going on.
We're trying to
We're trying
correct
to
it.
correct
Yeah.
it. So then the people would have felt more confident in the board, because yes, like you said, a lot of stuff they may not have known, but because of the lack of transparency, and then when we came and asked questions, we were basically dismissed. They were, talking condescended, arrogant, like they didn't even want to respond to the community members. So I think again, it's about relationships with the community. You guys have no relationship with the Milwaukee residents, the population that you service. Majority of the students that you serve are from the Milwaukee area. You have no relationship with us, and it's
And
like,
at the end of the day, the
mhm,
board is in charge of the superintendent.
superintendent.
Correct? Are they
Yes.
not the boss over the superintendent?
And I can see if this just happened one time, but it's constantly happening. It's
And the only
constantly
reason I
happening.
threw that out is because I
For the
heard it
people, yeah.
I heard it, and sometimes like, you don't know what to ask unless you have
Most
information, and
definitely.
sometimes you have no clue what to ask, but other people will. And if you can get that information out there, like I heard that, I want to get it out there, this is what people are
Most
saying,
definitely.
and now you can correct it, or say you just corrected it, because some people are like, well, they didn't know, and why are you coming after them? Now you have just like kind of cleared the air, saying, no, this is,
Right.
if you go look at DPI, this is what they did know, this is the letter they sent. I would love to talk more about this as it goes. This little hour went by pretty fast, but
Yes.
I think, can you come back and just tell us the steps? So the signatures are due Monday, correct?
We would love to have you on too, Miss Phelps, so we can really break down, because you have
That
a
was
lot
Keon's fault.
of you have a lot of good
It was
information.
miscommunicating. No,
Yeah.
just like,
And I was
Thank
just
you.
blaming Keon. It's Keon.
You really do, which I appreciate you, Dr. Johnson,
Thank
and
you.
Mrs. Phelps, for really explaining that out to the community, so
Yeah.
people can really understand where NPS is going. Because I feel like they failed us all. I'm an NPS student,
Right.
so I have the right to say what they did and didn't do.
Right.
So
Well, thank you very
Thank
much.
you
This
for
is
having us.
Thank
Thank
you for
you.
having us. Appreciate you
We'll
having us
see you
on.
again. This is Be a Voice with the Wisconsin Voice. Remember, we always say amplify your voice. We'll be back on Monday. Bye bye.
Be a
W